G'day, freedom lovers. Yeah. I know I still haven't fixed that intro, but I'll get to it, I swear. It's on my list of things to do that just never seems to really end, just even looking at through some of this stuff. And I've got too much shit here. There's more stuff than I wanted in there. What's that one? Anyway, yeah, we did that one, didn't we? Still trying to keep up with stuff, but I'll get it eventually. So we're going to try something a little bit different this time, boys and girls. We're going to do something a bit different because I haven't actually got a lot of newspaper articles because most of the stuff I've been finding or being sent lately are videos. So we're going to do a little bit more of a video sort of a thing this time around. I'm going to try a few different ways of inserting stuff into the mix as well. So we'll see how that all works out. Right now, it's just oh, that's right, I was going to do that, and then I got distracted moment again. It happens, but a lot of interesting things have happened. Sorry, it's been a few weeks since I've done one of these, but life's pretty hectic, and unlike the lamestream journalists who actually get paid to do a shit job, I'm not really getting a great deal of economic incentive, So what I do when I can. It's a passion to want to do these things, and where do I want to start today? I don't know. There's lots of different things to look at, and I think I might start by attempting to do this share video system because I've usually just imported it into the program. This time around, I'm going to try something different, and I think a good place to start today would be with a little thing that Elon posted. And this is a very important message for the lamestream fuckwits who, love me, but refuse to use my new pronoun, mainstream media loves, in their ridiculous reporting from Channel 10 a couple of weeks ago. But we'll look at that in a minute. First off, let's hear from Elon if this works.
Traditional journalists don't like is they don't like.
Now, can everybody hear that?
Platform as the average citizen. They don't like their voice being the same. They're pretty mad
this
about
is the problem.
that.
I can't hear
it's
it.
Important to elevate citizen journalism.
It's an issue. This
is
why I don't use this system for some reason.
Not the filtered voice of the people. And let the people choose the narrative and let the people determine the truth. And not 5 editors-in-chiefs of major publications. Do you want to know what's really going on, or do you want their opinion? It's a handful of people. I think we want to know the voice of the people, the true voice of the people.
Okay, so you guys can hear that, but for some reason I can't. Now I know why I don't use this system normally, because it doesn't work very well for me, which is very frustrating. It makes it hard if I can't hear it. How to address this situation? It's very soft. Okay, that's not good either. So let's just clear out some space here then. I was really hoping that would work well. Oh, those things are in there already. I needed that. Sorry, guys. A lot of issues have definitely come up recently, and I think we might just quickly have a look at some of this stuff. If I present share screen application. So here in Townsville, let's have a look at some of the here in Townsville crap. So maintain free parking into the Strand. So as we said on this network a little while ago, you should probably ask your councillors, do they have plans to put more parking meters in around Townsville? Turns out they did. Shock, horror, disgust. A conspiracy theory that came true yet again. Sips to that, boys and girls. So, I'm not seeing comments popping up. Are you guys in my comment crew in the background? Are you guys running? Or have I just missed it? So we have a petition here from change.org. It's been set up by locals. Every time I check, there's like another 1,000 people have signed, which is really good. So the next goal is currently 10,000. I figure by putting this on this channel, all the great people out there in the Freedom Camp would like to support free parking here. To me, the purpose of council, and I'm pretty confident this is what council's supposed to do, is to maintain and provide services for the community. That's why we pay a shit ton of money, all right? Boy, do I need a chill sesh today. So it is like kicking back and watching this a chill sesh. Is that all? Is that the way I can read that, Cherry? Thank you. So I believe they should be providing these services, not finding new ways to restrict and tax us for services they've failed to provide. So in this instance, perhaps the parking situation on the Strand is a bit challenging from time to time. I must admit, I tend to avoid the Strand just because trying to get a car park can be a bit of a pain in the ass at times. You've got to pick your times. So rather than, ensure that there is enough parking for everybody in Townsville to enjoy the Strand and visitors. So if you wish to come and visit the wonderful beaches here at Townsville along the Strand, it is a lovely place. As a visitor, you're going to be affected by this too. So I'd really encourage everybody, watching to go into the comments and the description of the videos and follow this link. For those of you on Twitter, I can't actually add that in. It's one of the problems with Twitter. One of the things I don't like, you can't add a description to the video. I did add it on the North Queensland one. I'm going to punch it into the comments here. Let's see if we can bump that number up a bit because, yeah, are the council going to listen? At the end of the day, we've seen some pretty debaucherous shit happening in the Townsville Council here, which we'll have a look at as well. But this is a pretty important petition for me and the locals here in Townsville to let these runaway lunatics that have taken control of the council, and basically blocked our mayor, our duly elected mayor, from doing his job. And that's the other question. If Troy was in, would he have prevented this? Would he have been able to prevent this? Is this, a remnant of the Team Jenny Hill empire that we've, hopefully tried to knock down, but not well enough? This is, and it's just typical because those Team Jenny Hill remnants are still Labor. And this is typical Labor, tax the shit out of the people. In amongst that, it's not just that they've decided to put parking meters in. They've raised the rates quite a substantial amount. So there's more attack on the cost of living. Thanks, guys. Of course, we're going to look more at the cost of living because shit, that's coming at us too. Albo's pathetic excuse for government is just g'day, Adrian. How are you, mate? It's just a train wreck, absolute train wreck. But look. So yeah, if you could jump on and sign this, that'd be really good. Senator Antic, his website actually has quite a few here in the take action sort of thing, so it's worth going to his page. But the one I really wanted to focus on was the digital identity power grab. Sign this petition to scrap the digital identity power grab. So like they've already pushed that shit through. I actually have a video here of him explaining it. Why use my words when I can use his? I'm just gonna add this video in quickly here. There it is. Let's open that one up. I'll just wait for it to load up, and we'll let him explain it because I think he says it quite well in a rather brief statement. Like I said, it's all videos today. So, as we can see, it's a dear Prime Minister. We don't want to be forced to use digital ID to access online services. It's pretty straightforward. But
earlier this year, Labor rushed their digital ID legislation through Parliament without allowing for a proper informed debate. In light of this manoeuvre, I'm today introducing a bill to repeal these digital ID laws. There are many ways this system could be abused, and there are not enough protections to ensure that it doesn't become mandatory. Furthermore, the protections which do exist are not robust and leave the door open for activities such as online banking to become highly inconvenient without a digital ID. At least the system should be voluntary for users who would like the convenience of having their data stored in one digital location and in no more. If people don't want it, they shouldn't have to use it. Mark my words, it won't be long before digital ID will become a condition of employment in this country, and as sure as night follows day, the corporate sector will adopt the system on behalf of the government. These laws must be repealed urgently, and I thank Senators Hanson, Roberts, Babbitt, Canavan and Rennick for co-sponsoring this bill.
So we've got a handful of good people in there as usual, Senator Antic being one of them, and I don't think I've given him enough attention on this channel, so it was definitely long overdue. Sorry about that, Alex. You're one of the good ones from what I can see. You know, as we discussed on Friday, can we fix this fucking horrific excuse for a political system? You know, John Wilson believes we can't. And, you know, he's got his strategies for how to fix that. You know, personally, I'm in favour of anybody who wants to give it a go and do anything they can to stop this from any angle. And I think the more people hands on deck, giving it a good run, the better off we are. You know, I mean, why invest in just one strategy? You know, I'm invested in lots of different strategies, and I like to give everybody a chance to say their piece. So hey, if you've got an idea, by all means, drop me a line, and we'll get you your opportunity to say your piece as well. But I think, yeah, crushing this digital identity is a very, very important one. Some other interesting news that's obviously happened recently is good old Sleepy Joe. Fuck me dead. I don't know. Did anybody sit there and watch the whole thing? I did. You know, a big shout out to Tyler, who actually came to me after our Friday show and go, "Hey, Dad, have we watched it yet?" I'm like, "Nah, man, we should give it a go." So he sat on the couch with me. A 13-year-old boy sat down and engaged in politics with his old man. Sat down and watched the whole friggin' thing, and boy, did we have a good laugh. I could have sat down and compiled something, but funny enough, CNN seems to have even gone, hang on, what the hell? And this is what they...
To some of them, he said he's the only president in a while who didn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world. Troops have, of course, died on his watch. He said he's put in a $15 per shot cap on insulin and Medicare. It's a $35 a month cap. He said it's a $200 cap on overall drug spending in Medicare. It's $2,000 a year. He said the border now has fewer crossings than when Trump was in office. That's generally not true. He said, or at least strongly suggested, unemployment was at 15% when he took office. It was actually 6.4. He said Trump wants to get rid of Social Security. Trump doesn't. He said billionaires pay 8.2% in taxes. It's much higher. He said Trump told Americans to inject bleach amid COVID. We know Trump made foolish comments about scientists studying disinfectant injection, but didn't frame it as advice to people. And Biden said the Border Patrol endorsed him. No, its union supported the border bill he supported, never endorsed him himself.
So there you go. Not even CNN can cover for the other bullshit come out of that. I mean, not to mention the... Like, seriously, that man, that's something seriously wrong, and I'm absolutely astounded that anybody could still support this fucking guy. Like, I mean, seriously, it's... you know, we've said it before, I'll say it again, fucking Weekend at Bernie's, man, but it's embarrassing. Like, could you imagine, you know, like, looking up and going, "Struth, I'm related to that poor guy, he needs to be in a home, you know, why are they putting him up on display like this," you know? I mean, astoundingly, he was able to string a few sentences together, but there was that wonderful moment there where he was talking about the abortion, and he goes into the trimesters, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, me and Tyler went back and rewound it 3 or 4 times to see if we could make sense of it. It's just like, man, this is just utter shit. And of course, Trump had the ultimate rebuttal. I've got no idea what he said. I don't think he does either. Say no more. Say no more. You know, it was a bit of a train wreck for Biden. They did everything they could to try and help him, but there's just no saving it. You know, it's, you know, he's a walking corpse. You know, it's a zombie apocalypse in White House. It's, yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. Of course, other amazing things, and I'm pretty sure I've seen Robin covered this, and apologies, Robin, I haven't had a chance to watch the video yet. You know how it is, we're all flat out. But I did see this getting around, and I thought we should honour Assange back in the day for one of the important things, which I think why the Americans definitely wanted to get a hold of him, particularly the Clintons.
There's a early 2014 email from Hillary Clinton, so not so long after she left Secretary of State, to her campaign manager, John Podesta. That email, it states that ISIS, is funded by Saudi Arabia and Qatar, the governments of Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Now, this is I think this is the most significant email in the whole collection. And perhaps because Saudi and Qatari money is spread all over the place, including into many media institutions. All serious analysts know, even the US government has mentioned or agreed with that some Saudi figures have been supporting ISIS, funding ISIS. But the dodge has always been that's it's just some rogue princes using their cut of the oil money to do whatever they like, but actually the government disapproves. But that email says that no, it is the governments of Saudi and the government and Qatar that have been funding ISIS.
The Saudis, the Qataris, the Moroccans, the Bahrainis, particularly the Saudis and the Qataris, are giving all this money to the Clinton Foundation, while Hillary Clinton is Secretary of State and the State Department is approving massive arms sales, particularly to Saudi Arabia.
Under Hillary Clinton, and our Clinton emails reveal significant discussion about it, the largest ever arms deal in the world was made with Saudi Arabia, more than $80 billion. In fact, during her tenure as Secretary of State, total arms exports from the United States, in terms of the dollar value, doubled.
And of course, the consequence of that is that this notorious terrorist jihadist group called ISIL or ISIS is created largely with money from the very people who are giving money to the Clinton Foundation.
Yes.
That's extraordinary.
There you have it. I like, actually, my comment man must have jumped back in. My conspiracy theory, they'll replace Kamala Harris with either Hillary Clinton or Michelle Obama. I love that. Hillary Clinton is definitely the appropriate terminology for her, I think. Michelle Obama. Yeah, I just want to correct the spelling there. That should be Obama. Or Gavin Newsom. And they'll use the 25th Amendment and get rid of Biden. I mean, so many people have been saying it for so long now that they're going to do something like that. I feel like they're stuck in this rock and a hard place, that they can't really do that, because if they do, all these conspiracy theorists are going to be right again. And that makes their life fucking hard. But they've got to do something. That's the thing, because Biden's a freaking train wreck that not even the CNN bloody mob can salvage at this point. You know, they're stuffed. They're proper stuffed. And, you know, with Robert F. Kennedy coming up to offer an alternative to people who, you know, can't vote for this geriatric old fart, and we don't like Trump much. Well, Robert F. Kennedy looks like a good opportunity too. So honestly, I think it's going to be a Robert F. Kennedy Trump race, and I don't think the Democrats have anything left in the tank. Anything they do is just going to make it worse, you know. And Michelle, Michael Obama, take your pick, you know. That certainly looks like a bit of junk swinging between its legs, because, you know, the jury's out on whether it's a boy or a girl or a whatever the hell it is. These days, you know, they just make up new terminologies as they go. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Sit back and watch the shit show unfold. You know, Trump handled himself quite well, and you know, to tie it back to you know, our wonderful esteemed king of journalism here in Australia. Let's see what he has to do next. You know, I'm very curious. You know, obviously, I think being stuck in prison, poor Assange is probably going to be thinking, you know what, I think I just want to go sit on the beach for a while. And fuck, man, I don't say I blame you, buddy. You know, by all means, don't get involved in this shit show. We've got you back for now, mate. Go and rest up, go on the beach, sip some fucking martinis or beers or whatever, you know, smoke a packet of cigarettes. You friggin' earned it, you know. I mean, you'd probably be shocked to see what a pack of cigarettes costs in Australia since the last time you set foot here, buddy. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it won't take you long to have a good look at the shit show that's become Australia, and before you want to jump back into and go, what the fuck? But, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And speaking of which, you know, it is the greatest slogan out there. I've contacted old mate who's made this hat. I want one. It's definitely on my list of things to acquire. If it's not able to be done, I think I might have to look into making it myself, because that is pretty fucking cool. I want one of those hats. But I've reached out to old mate, and thanks to Adrian for sending me the link to that too. Much appreciated, buddy. And yeah, we'll see what old mate can do. I haven't heard back from him yet. Oh no, Adrian, I think you were saying you were doing some work with him or something. If you want to give him a bit of a, cuddle prod in the butt and get him going, that'd be awesome. So anyway, all that aside, we've got a whole bunch of funny shit to look at, like good old Elbow. I mean, I'm pretty sure I put this one here before, but I'm having a bit of trouble because I've set out to do this show 3 times now, and I can't remember what I've showed elsewhere and what I've done here and there. So I'm just going to go through what I've imported. Great one. Elbow's second turn is definitely Australia's step into further darkness, especially if Blackout Bowen has to do anything about it. We won't be able to freaking get the lights on because we won't have any power, and the way he's running the economy, we won't be able to afford it even if he could. I never really understood this Beatles song. Yeah, we did that one, I'm sure. I remember seeing it before. 22, yep. Electricity bills, while we're talking about Blackout Bowen, what a wonderful way that, I'm just making this up as I go, boys and girls, so the way it turns out is the way it sort of turns out at this point. I love One Nation's stuff at the moment. Labor caused inflation crisis. Nasty upside surprise on inflation rises. Can we just drop that comment for a second, please, Zach? Sorry, I got it. I'm just going to drop that. Inflation rises. Interest rate pressure on the Reserve Bank. So, that's another story I think we might have to look into. I'm just going to quickly keep rolling through here because this was a bloody funny one. I've seen this one getting around. The Minister of Disinformation, I think he's the provider as well, He's the head of the Ministry of Disinformation for those George Orwell readers out there. If you haven't read 1984 yet, you really, really should. It's, wow. It's quite prophetic is possibly the best way to look at this. There's a couple of videos I've got to bring in as well. Where was it? That's right, because we're going to lead into that. Rightio, cool. Putting things together. It's coming together. It's coming together. We're getting there. I'm gonna make a show out of this as best I can. And of course, Craig Kelly's had a little bit to say, and yet when I receive countless threats, when activists trespass upon my family home, and when I was assaulted in a sneak attack from behind in a public park from a deranged leftist, and the Victorian courts handed the criminal a token $300 fine with no conviction recorded for physically assaulting a federal member of parliament, they said nothing and giggled. It was all a big joke. So the precedent has been set. Sneak up behind a federal member of parliament, strike them on the back of the head, film it and publish it on social media to make yourself a hero, and you'll only get a $300 fine and won't have a conviction recorded against you. Now, what's the relevance to this, you might ask? Wow. After reading that, I couldn't help but have a click and look myself. So here's Elbow having a bit of a
It's
sort.
very concerning, including threats not just to Labor MPs, but to others, to my family. It's another reason why families should be off limits from the media, frankly. Something that is of concern. A very direct threat.
Well, mate, I'm sorry. I don't really feel sorry for you because of what you've done to all our families, and if I was one of your family members, I'd fucking disown you. You're such a fucking rat, and, yeah, I'm not all for the, I don't think we should go around committing acts of violence and all that sort of stuff. By all means, we do need this guy removed. They want to jump up and down about Troy Thompson here because he made a slip up of the words. This guy's ruining the goddamn nation. He should be removed straight away. The entire friggin' Labor Party, as far as I'm concerned, should be removed. Every one of them put in a cell and locked away till we can investigate everything that they've done. Because as far as I'm concerned, we're looking at a criminal cabal. And according to our podcast on Friday, if you haven't seen it, go back and have a look at it, where we had a former communist, former, Labor, pro-Labor guy, former, union heavyweight there. You might know him as Como John, come out and openly stated they're running a money laundering operation through their unions. It's not my words, that's his, And the Labor Party knows damn well what's going on because they're heavily affiliated with this shit. So don't even get started with, trying to defend yourselves. You're crooks. We all know it. We all know you're crooks. It's time for you to go. And yeah, it's hard to feel sympathy for the devil. And, I wouldn't give Albo the title of devil himself because he's not smart enough. He's just a little demon. He's just a little demon who sits in there in the back pocket of the, BlackRock and all the rest of them, taking the money to sell out our entire friggin' country. They are totally stuffed. So I think this is a good segue into the next one. Instead of killing millions of chickens because of bird flu, couldn't we just lock them down in a coop for 2 weeks and to flatten the curb? I thought that was great because, those poor caged chickens kind of live that way anyway. Perhaps that might have been a cause of some sort of a disease manifestation, because generally when you put a whole bunch of animals together in such close quarters, you're basically asking for disease to come through. Surprised I didn't think of that. But we all know it come out of a lab in Wuhan, no doubt. But while we're talking about bird flu, here's a bird that flew into a wind farm. So there's some more bird flu pandemic for you. And we can see the cause of this bird flu pandemic. It comes from stunning people like Blackout Bowen. How do you put out a fire in a wind turbine 20 kilometers out to sea? That is a fucking good question. Actually, that reminds me, I found a video the other day and I forgot to add it in. It's very important. You'll have to bear with me a second while I grab a hold of this one. Fortunately, I sent it to someone, didn't I? Yes, I did. That's going to make life a lot quicker. All right. So while we're looking at the next video, because this is important, because what's just happened recently, I've discovered today, is this.
There it goes.
Far out.
Oh, hey! Jab in the ground. Oh!
Well done, Blackout Bowen. Well done, mate. What a great bloody job. Like, you're doing such a good job selling these products. They literally sell themselves, My God. It was only a matter of time. We're lucky that hasn't started a bushfire, and that's something that we really need to consider, because, I'm going to bring up this old chestnut. We've all seen it before, but we better see it again. Because once you're done clubbing the fucking koalas to make these bloody eyesores, we can burn the rest of the forest down by turning them on. Well done. Well done, Blackout Bowen. You are an absolute champion of stupidity. I cannot believe how utterly stupid these people are. And yet they still double down on dumbass, and it's a common strategy of the modern left is to continuously double down on dumbass, and here he is doing it.
So what we know is that nuclear power is risky. It's risky because it undermines investment in renewable energy. It's risky because it means relying on aging coal-fired power stations for longer. It's risky because it would mean relying on coal-fired power, which is increasingly unreliable, for longer than we otherwise need to. We know that nuclear is too expensive, too slow to build, and too risky for energy reliability. Now,
how the hell can you get away with saying that? Seriously. How can you say that coal fire was unreliable? We operated this country For I don't know how bloody long, since, you know, I couldn't tell you when they started using coal-fired power plants. I wasn't born then. But my entire life, we've been running those things, and we never seem to have that many problems until some dickhead ran into a power pole or a friggin', you know, a storm come through, blew down a power line. Again, why we don't put them underground, I don't know. They do in some places. I know, you know, some of the areas around here in Townsville, they do that, and it's a fucking great idea. You know, and again, you know, here we are in cyclone country, some more of the, you know, stupidity of our local and state governments and whatnot, whoever's controlling the infrastructure. Why aren't you prepared for this shit? Why are you waiting for another cyclone to come blow over power lines? Are you people really that fucking dumb? I mean, come on. It's not rocket science. This is not like the hardest thing in the world to figure out. Why don't you just put them underground? You know, like, surely the long term it's going to work out better. And, you know, maybe somebody out there knows a little bit more about it than I do, can explain these things. I'm more than happy to have you come on and explain, well, sorry, we actually have to do it this way because, you know, I'd love to hear it. Sorry. Typing and talking at the same time never really worked well for me. Just ask the family. No, can't talk to Dad. He's texting. That's just one of my disabilities. You know, we've all got a kryptonite, and texting while talking is my kryptonite. I just can't do it. Sorry, guys. Hang on. Too many things going on at once. Alrighty then. So I'm just going to... Where did I put it? I just saved it. It's gone into the wrong bloody folder. You've got to love it when you get those things happening. Now... Alright, let's cancel that for now. I'll come back to it. Alright, so there is more to that, and I've got to get it going because I'll lose my plot if I don't. So I had it in this browser. I opened the folder. Why is it? Probably because I had to reload it. Alright, it's alright. I'm starting to figure it out. It was there. I just had to get the procedure in the right order. Computers. In the meantime, Sips, does any of this pass the pub test today? So we're loading. So what we're seeing here, this one's actually compliments of Senator Malcolm Roberts is always doing a great job. You know, at least the best he can within the restrictions of Parliament. So, you know... I look at the One Nation camp and I'm like, okay, I know they could be doing a lot more. We all think, why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? I'd like to maintain the benefit of the doubt and go, well, they're in a pigeonhole. They're stuck, you know, stuck in the box of the set of rules. Because we all see what happens when you step outside of the rules. If you don't play their game to a certain degree, you end up ostracized as senator in exile. Former One Nation candidate. In WA, whose name is, I'm trying to fumble my way through, I can't believe I fucking forgot. Leader of the Gap Party, you know who I'm talking about. Somebody help me out with a comment there. You know, as he found out. Anyway, back to the point. Senator Malcolm Roberts posted this, and I think it's very relevant to the wind farm that just fucking caught fire.
I'm from the Gourock Brigade, which is north of St Arnaud. I'm out here today. This action is being taken because federal government, the state government, AENO and anyone involved with this transition to renewable energy have completely forgotten us in the process. They're going to put a large number of facilities, battery projects, substations, transmission lines and wind and solar operations in our countryside without our consent and without thinking about the absolute risk of fire danger in our communities. They're not listening, they don't care.
Hi, I'm Rachel McIntyre. I am a CFA volunteer and we are threatening strike action because it's causing a hazard to our local community.
Hi, I'm Anne from Trainers Lagoon. We're striking because CFA are not advocating for our community or member welfare.
Yeah, I'm Keith from Gregory. We're completely upset with the CFA chiefs and we're taking action because they just take political attitude and not respecting the CFA members.
I'm Bill Bourne and I'm from Gregory Village Fire Brigade, and I think the transmission lines and renewable energy projects are posing a massive fire risk on the border community and neighbouring towns.
Thank God, because I have spoken to some firefighters who have, you know, remained in confidence, and they have openly stated to me on several occasions, this shit is a menace to society. And it's good to see some firefighters actually step up, put their face to it, and say this is a fucking madhouse. And Struth, have a look at it again.
There it goes.
Far out.
Oh, hey! Jab into the ground. Oh!
So there you go. That the firefighters have every right, and that statement was released before that shit happened. You know, that hasn't. That, as far as I know, it's only happened the last day or two down there in Victoria. You know what? Just for shits and giggles, let's see what the wind farm output is at the moment, eh? I love this one. Do a bookmark, but I think it's easier just to go and do it this way. And let's so this is our wind farm map, as you can see. The Aneroid, almost sounds like hemorrhoid, doesn't it? Aneroid Energy Farm. You know, and for anybody who wants to see that, I'm just going to punch it into the comments. G'day, Robin, how are you? No, it wasn't Craig Kelly. Rod Cullerton, thank you. Thank you, Frank. That's the one. And Fiona, I see you guys got the right answer. Rod Cullerton, that's who I was talking to about before. Thank you. So in an astounding measure here, there's actually a bit of wind output, you know, happening around the country. It's amazing. There's 3 fully utilised. Whole 3. Look out. You know, there's yep, I can count 4 that are doing above 50%, and the rest of them, majority, doing 2/5 of fuck all, and a bit above 30%, you know? So, again, this shit, it's just shit technology. And look at every one of these sites is a potential fire hazard waiting to happen. You know, you want to, like, I've never seen a coal-fired power plant catch fire like this. I don't know, maybe it has happened, correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, on top of that, you've got these bloody battery operation shit going on as well. And those are fires that you can't put out. And then this is from what I've been told from firefighters themselves, that once them lithium-ion batteries go up, you just got to let them go. Even if you do manage to get them out, they're still at risk of catching fire again. This is madness. This is absolute madness, and I applaud those firefighters who have stepped up and, you know, said, this is bullshit. It's dangerous. The idea of firefighters having to strike, because that means who's going to come and put your house out when it catches fire because you're an idiot and put some fucking batteries on your house? Who's going to help you? Can they even put them out anyway? Because they're doing some serious work to try and figure out how they're going to put these things out. And this is the thing. They've released a technology. You know, and it was being explained to me just the other day by a fellow who's a firefighter. And he's like, well, to start with, they were putting them in boxes, you know. So the problem there is, you know, it traps the heat and all that sort of shit. But you can't get the friggin' water and the foam or whatever you're going to use to put this fire out into it, because the box protects it and keeps adding to it. There was one he was telling me about, I think it was a bloke in America. He opened up a fucking shipping container that was loaded with these friggin' batteries, and as he's opened it up, the backdraft, so the oxygen gets sucked right in, and boom, just blows this poor fucking cunt, sorry for the language, right through a bloody chain link fence, tucked him under. He's lucky to escape with just a couple of broken legs, but it blew him away, you know. And that's why you're not allowed to have them inside in contained areas anymore. So now they have them outside, but then they put them inside a box again. And again, same problem, you know. It's going to overheat in there. And particularly for those of us in Queensland, we should be definitely worried, because it's hot here all the bloody time, you know. Admittedly, I brought the jumper out a couple of times in the last few days. It has been a bit chilly, you know. There's a couple of moments there at work where, you know, I had a jumper and my rain jacket on in the middle of dry season. Somebody ought to send Mother Nature the email that it's dry season, stop raining on me while I'm trying to work. But that aside, yeah, this is madness. This is utter madness. And have a look at this performance. How are you supposed to run your house on such an inefficient system? Yet this dickhead, and let's listen to this fucking idiot again.
So what we know is that nuclear power is risky. It's risky because it undermines investment in renewable energy. It's risky because it means relying on aging coal-fired power stations for longer. It's risky because it would mean relying on coal-fired power, which is increasingly unreliable, for longer than we otherwise need to. We know that nuclear...
What an idiot. What an idiot. Sorry, mate. This...
There it goes.
Bushfire waiting to happen. Don't tell me about the risk of coal-fired power plant, you fucking idiot. Anyway, Batty, my mate, is an electrical inspector. He told me he has attended so many house fires to do reports. And I'm assuming that's in relation to batteries, correct? Because that's not stated. If this guy is an electrical inspector and that's what he's saying, then come on, I'd love to have him on. He might not be allowed to, so we will have to blackboard him. We'll make him a white board. We can make him a blue board, red board. What do you reckon? He can be an electrical board. You know, we'll make him a nice identity that we can hide him behind. Throw him through AI and watch the mainstream media call him Troy Thompson because they're a fucking pack of idiots. Wow, that was some fun, wasn't it? So for those of you who haven't actually seen, you know, the ridiculous conspiracy theory, we did a whole thing on the conspiracy theory in Fail 29, the last one, the Troy Thompson conspiracy theory, where I ripped this couch potato fuckwit from Channel 10 a new asshole and showed him a little bit about how journalism should work. But the moron decided to double down on dumbass, and I just thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity, really, to have a yarn about absolute morons and their ability to conjure up bullshit. So let's have a look at the utter bullshit that come out of Channel 10.
The Townsville mayor has accused the very council he serves of obstructing his return to office. Troy Thompson, who is on mental health leave, claims that guards stopped him entering the building, and now he's filed a complaint against councillors who voted to oust him.
He's been Townsville's mayor for 94 days, but for the last 12, Troy Thompson has stayed silent until now.
Quite frankly, I don't understand why he's still there.
This morning, the embattled mayor posted a lengthy statement to his Facebook page. He says while trying to return from leave to resume his duties as mayor, guards blocked him from entering council's headquarters last Wednesday.
My interests have to be the people of Townsville and ensuring Townsville's ongoing economic prosperity, and this situation, this dysfunctional council, is a threat to that.
But Troy Thompson has plenty of support, including those from the fringe online platform called the North Queensland Freedom Network. Its podcast host has denied any suggestions that a special guest with his face and voice disguised under the name Blackboard was in fact Troy Thompson when we made this phone call last week. We're trying to confirm if Blackboard, the guest on Friday's episode, was that Troy Thompson?
You guys are so bad at your jobs.
He hung up. Accusing 10 News First of peddling a conspiracy.
I couldn't remember his name. I don't think it's worth remembering, to be honest. This guy's a f***ing idiot.
But podcast host Barbecue Batty knows a thing or two about conspiracy theories.
The whole idea of trust the science is about as stupid as you could get.
And claims Blackboard is an Indigenous truth teller.
Blackboard has been on this channel before.
Identity aside, tonight pressure continues to mount on the mayor to consider his options.
He should think long and hard about the impact he's having on the city that he professed to care about.
Matthew.
Well, anyway, that's enough of that. So let's have a look at dissecting this absolute train wreck. So, of course, Troy had posted a lengthy statement. This is such a problem for these people who are lazy and stupid. You know, as they pointed out that I did a 4-hour podcast. Oh my God. It was so lengthy. It was so hard to do our jobs. Like, that's what they really mean. So when they say lengthy, it's me and again, it's insulting your intelligence. You're too stupid to want to sit down and listen to a lengthy construct such as this network, or a lengthy post made by the mayor as he explains what the hell's going on. Your feeble mind can't handle this. Just let us take care of it for you. Honestly, I can't remember this idiot's name, but I'm going to call him the couch potato conspiracy theorist from this day on. And I think every time he makes a story online, everybody should just jump on board and go, hey, couch potato conspiracy theorist, how you going? Have a look at this and repost this. I actually might make this a shorter video just so we can really rip into this dickhead, because he's so stupid. How has he backed up the fact that Troy should be removed for lying? He gets Steve Liar Miles in there to make a statement. The guy lied on the first day in Parliament. How the fuck is that helping your argument, you bloody moron? He attempts to cover himself by stating that I've denied it. But, and he uses the word with emphasis, in fact, Troy Thompson, in that statement. Although he's fundamentally saying that I've denied it, he himself clearly doesn't accept that, in the manner in which he says, in fact. Fuck you, you're an idiot. And that's not to you people, that's specifically to you, couch potato. That's your name from here on in. You're a couch potato conspiracy theorist, right? And while we're at it, he says, I called it a conspiracy theory. Ba-ba! No, you said I called it a conspiracy. I called it a conspiracy theory. Get your fucking information right, you bloody dickhead. You're going to find yourself in court real quick. That is bullshit. I never called it a conspiracy. You're not smart enough to conspire. You're too stupid. It was a conspiracy theory. Because you're so stupid and incapable of doing your bloody job, you ended up conjuring up a conspiracy theory, hence you won this award. And while we're at it, let's have a look at how they doctor things, all right? Notice when he says, conspiracy theories are something I should know about, and he grabs one little snippet. And this is what these lying scumbags do all the time. They take a piece of the sentence out of context. So now, in retrospect, he's got me saying that trust the science is about as stupid as you can possibly get. Let's look at the whole statement in context.
I mean, what sort of a society are we living in where we're told, nah, trust the experts? And the experts, time and time, have been proven to be wrong.
Yeah. Well, it goes against the fundamental principles of science, as I was discussing on our Friday night podcast with the scientist, where the whole idea of trust the science is about as stupid as you could get. I mean, if we said, all right, cool, let's trust the science, for example, whatever Isaac Newton come up with, that's the end of it. No more scientific research required. Newton got it sorted, But it turns out, bloody Einstein come along with some new things that challenge that idea, But now people have gone along and challenged what Einstein said as well. And that's science, challenging the idea and going, hang on, let's move on, let's advance. That's science is supposed to be about that kind of advancement. If you're not allowed to challenge it, how are you supposed to advance as a society? So that's the statement they butchered in an attempt to make me look bad. You're a fucking moron. You really are. That guy is one of the dumbest reporters I've ever seen. I've seen some fucking dumb reporters and as Tucker Carlson was saying, and it was a great show, by the way. I might give you a rundown on that at some stage. Maybe not today, because I've already been told no long show today because my family wants some time with me. As Tucker was saying, he became a journalist because the requirements are pretty low standard. And I don't think you can get much lower standard than the couch potato conspiracy theorist from 10 News in that horrific attempt to double down on his dumbassness. What a moron. What an absolute moron. You are a complete cockknocker, mate. Complete nutter moron. I've come across dumb journalists before. Some of them, I swear, if they rub their heads together, you get two dumb journalists, rub their heads together, they might create enough friction to spark a thought, But this guy, I don't think you could rub his head against a balloon to get some form of static electricity to work. I don't know. That might be a scientific experiment to himself. Can we get static electricity produced from that moron? He might actually serve some purpose in society. Rub a couple of balloons up against his head and turn him into, some sort of a battery, That's probably the only use for someone that bloody stupid. But anyway, I've addressed that situation now. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what stupidity you're going to conjure up next, couch potato. You are forever known as the couch potato conspiracy theorist. You bloody numpty. What a moron. So, let's move along to some other things that was brought to my attention. I want to thank Tracy for sending me this one too. You know, Tracy, by the way. I'm going to make sure we get that right. You know, because it might be Troy or something. You know, but it's actually, you know, not Tro. But obviously, that's too complex for these reporters. They're too stupid. Anyway.
Intelligence dangerously compromised warned CIA and FBI whistleblowers. You're not the only one to report this, of course. But I was reading your report on it this morning. This is something that you have been warning about for quite some time, and the allegations stem from a whistleblower who has come forward to the House, a whistleblower from the Central Intelligence Agency. I have the letter, the relevant letter here from the House Oversight Committee. The whistleblower alleges that a CIA team was paid to change its assessment of the origins of COVID-19. Do I have that broadly correct? Is that your understanding of the report? Yes. This is obviously a bombshell report, deeply, deeply troubling. I'm glad that the House is going to look into it. We should look into it. What caught my attention is you point out in your article on this that the government has deliberately violated the COVID Origins Act, which this body passed unanimously, which the House passed, the President signed into law. Maybe he wasn't so happy about signing it into law, but he did. It is the law of the land, and which required that all of the government's intelligence on the origins of COVID be made public. Instead, what the administration did was offer up a summary, which they then in turn heavily redacted. And you point out that in addition, the administration refused to report the names of scientists who fell ill at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in 2019, despite the fact they know the names. The intelligence community knows the names. Now, you're absolutely right to say this is a violation of the COVID Origins Act, and I would know because I wrote it. So I'm not very happy about the fact that this administration continues to flout, completely ignore public law passed, again, unanimously by the United States Senate. For what end, I can't tell. I can't figure out why in the world. I don't know what partisan gain there is to it. Why in the world they want to lie to the American people. You conclude your article by saying the government has become extremely comfortable with lying to us. Just explain what you mean by that and tell us why you think this is so significant.
Well, sure. And just on the very specific point of we were the first to identify the three people that contracted the coronavirus in China. They were the people working on gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The Wall Street Journal confirmed our reporting 2 weeks later, and then I think it was 1 week after that or a few days after that, the ODNI report came out, and it did not reveal this information. And we had multiple sources. The Wall Street Journal, we have no idea if the Wall Street Journal sources were the same, but I think we're clearly seeing a lot of abuses of power occurring in multiple executive agencies. So we've seen it with the FBI. One of the things that we noted yesterday was that we saw perverse incentives in the FBI to go after so-called domestic violent extremism, pulling an agent off of things like child exploitation onto really hyping a set of cases that particularly appeared to be aimed at spreading disinformation around the idea that there is a significant increase of domestic extremism when we don't think that the evidence shows that. And now we see this report that came out that suggests that there's an FBI whistleblower who says that 6 of the 7 analysts had said it was a laboratory origin and that they had reversed their position in some exchange for some sort of a salary bonus or some sort of a financial incentive. So, and we've been, so we keep documenting it. We just keep finding agencies, DHS involved in trying to create a disinformation governance board. I keep, the censorship industrial complex, we just keep finding new parts of it. So in the research for this testimony, we discovered this Deep Trust Alliance that had, what appears to be ties to the security and intelligence agencies of the United States government, appears to be trying to set itself up, although it's now kind of ghosted after 2021, but it appeared to try to set itself up to decide what is reality and what are fakes for people, and I think it should have a chilling effect in that that's not how we do free speech in America. We don't have government agencies. We don't have cutouts or front groups that appear to have support from those agencies telling the American people what's true, what's false, or telling social media companies behind the scenes what they should be censoring.
And just to that last point, we now know, thanks to the case Missouri versus Biden, that that's exactly what this administration, from the White House to the FBI to the State Department to the CDC to CISA, have all been meeting with the social media companies for years now, giving them direct commands about what to censor and take down, naming specific accounts and specific speech they want suppressed, threatening the social media platforms if they don't do it. And remarkably, and I'm quoting the court here, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and there's a huge evidentiary record. Everybody can go, don't take my word for it, go read the record. It's all on the record from the district court. What the Fifth Circuit said is, remarkably, the social media platforms all complied. All of them. They all agreed to be tools of the United States government and to censor what they were ordered to censor, to suppress the speech they were ordered to suppress. You're a journalist. Tell us about the threat to the First Amendment. And by the way, just for the record, I think it's important to establish, the Federal Court of Appeals said directly, in no uncertain terms, this was a clear violation of the United States Constitution. The First Amendment does not allow the federal government to use private companies to censor when they wouldn't be able to do it themselves. And that's exactly what this administration has done. Tell us as a journalist the threat to free speech, to freedom of the press from this kind of collusion between a very powerful government trying to hijack every media company it can get its hands on.
Well, sure. I mean, if you just start on the issue of the COVID vaccine, for example, public interest advocates spent a very long time trying to get requiring the pharmaceutical companies to list the side effects of their drugs in their advertisements. Here we saw a situation where people were sharing information about the side effects of the vaccine on Facebook and other social media platforms, and the White House demanding that it be taken down, Facebook complying, acknowledging that it was often true information. We also saw that Facebook's own internal research showed that actually it increases vaccine hesitancy when you censor those stories, that people, if they want to be comfortable with a new drug, they need to be able to talk it out a bit. So Facebook told the White House that actually it would backfire. The White House insisted. Facebook caved in because, according to the Facebook executive Nick Clegg, he said, well, we've got this other business that we need to do with the White House, which is the data flows, meaning we need the White House to help us negotiate with the Europeans to bring our data back to the United States. So I think the Fifth Circuit Court did a great job in identifying the clearly coercive measures, but I don't think it went far enough because the First Amendment, it prevents the government from abridging or infringing on free speech, offering an incentive to social media platforms, such as helping them with their dispute with Europe, in exchange for censoring often true content, though of course the First Amendment also protects false content. I think it's a very chilling effect. I think it's very disturbing. Anybody that cares about holding powerful entities to account should be disturbed by what we saw take place on Facebook, on Twitter. And I think we just have to remind ourselves, and what disturbs me when I hear sort of the conversation around AI coming into it sort of with the beginner mind, I hear a lot of talk about how to protect the public from harm. We have to protect the public from harm. What people are saying is that we need to censor speech, censor certain voices, censor disfavored voices because of this idea that it will cause real-world harm. This is a well-documented phenomenon that psychologists have measured where over decades, people have just grossly expanded their definition of things that cause harm. And I think that we need to kind of, this should be a moment for a reset, that free speech is almost absolute in the United States with a few exceptions around immediate incitement to violence, around fraud, around child exploitation. But we allow very open conversation in the United States. It's what makes it so special. So it's been a chilling effect. As a journalist, I've personally been censored by Facebook. I think the platforms are out of control.
Thank you, Mr. Schellenberg. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, there you have it. Very important information. There's so much to be said about that. Look, at the end of the day, you've watched it, you've seen it yourself. Make up your own minds. But I think after swallowing a truth pill like that, it's important to have a little bit of a joke every now and then. I'd like to thank Darren Dixon for sending this to me. It's a good one, eh? I actually had to watch it a couple of times, so I think I'll let you have a look at it. It is a very appropriate thing to play after such a truth bomb, I think. You know, it's very important stuff. Something else here. It's Wind Farm 3. I can't remember what it is. Let's have a look.
You know how wind turbines are built? Let's start the base of the tower.
Ah, yeah, that's an important one. It's a big video. I was going to add it to the wind farm thing. I might save that for another day. It's a good one. Look, you know, I'll leave it up to popular demand. I'm going to pop it down the bottom of the list here. If you guys want to see how a wind farm is built, it's 3 minutes long. I'll let you decide. Can we keep them comments rolling, please, Mr. Comments Man? If it's the public want to see it today, or you want to see it on another podcast, let me know. I do have to kind of keep things somewhat, you know, chill time-wise. We were referring to Tucker earlier, and this is a short clip. There is actually a longer version of it. The long version is really good, but I think this is a nice little sample. If you go to the Tucker Carlson thing on X, you can actually see the full thing where he really destroys the mainstream media really, really well. But this 45-second excerpt is a must-see.
You've preempted my question on Putin.
Putin!
Putin! Which I think you did strategically because you knew it's what we'd ask.
Putin! He's so bad!
And I also appreciate that...
Did he make you take the COVID shot?
Take the what?
The COVID shot? No, he didn't. Sorry.
The COVID shot saved probably tens of millions.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Safe and effective. This is why everyone loves the media.
Probably 100 times more lives than Putin has killed in Ukraine.
It's like a time capsule. It's like you're like the last Japanese soldier on Okinawa. You think the war's still going. Oh, it's hilarious.
Funny as fuck. I mean, you watch the rest of it, it gets better. It actually gets better because he totally dissects the idiot's statement. You know, another example of reporters being complete utter morons. You know, and obviously Tucker's been in the game long enough to realize that what he did as a job was so fucking wrong. Now he's come to the light side of the force, unpacked his shit, and that was one of the things I found really powerful about the Tucker Carlson presentation that I've seen up in Cairns. Big thanks to my good friend Mark too, who made that all possible. You know, without his astounding friendship and driving us up there and getting us the tickets and all that stuff, it just wouldn't have happened. So, you know, thank you very much, my friend. Much appreciated. Look, you know, information-wise for me, I didn't really gain a lot of information. Like, while we're talking about Tucker, actually, before I go into that, let's what was just said there, you know, the dickhead goes, I think you preempted it. So the moron openly stated that I'm walking into your booby trap. Like, it's that dumb, you know. I think it's a trap here. Oh, I wonder what happens if I step on this landmine. Dickhead. And then, you know, once he shuts him down really quickly with the, did Putin make you take the jab? No, your own fucking government did that. Actually, you fuckwits in the mainstream media helped them do it. You know, and because he knows he's a part of that crime, he doubles down on his dumbass. Just like dickhead conspiracy theorist from Channel 10, the couch potato himself, doubled down on his dumbass. Wow. They are really, really special. But anyway, I did take some notes, and while we're talking about Tucker, I might just quickly insert them once I bring up my little note sheet that I took here. That's another story for another day. Mark and I did have a very interesting trip back from...
Don't give anything away about the Tucker show, because people in Melbourne haven't seen it yet.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to give away anything too major. Just a quick rundown. It's all right. So apparently all you poor people in Melbourne are, you know, well, have to wait till last, I guess. It could be a good thing, because you guys are probably going to get a whole bunch of extra stuff that we didn't. But, where did I put it? Nope, not that bit. Nope, not that one. Definitely not that one. Nope, not that one. Hang on, I made a note. Where did it go? How did I... I'm trying to figure out how I send it to myself now. Ah, that's right. I put it in there. Sorry, too many different ways to give myself a note. So, there was some very interesting things I found in there. Dr. Melissa McCann did have some extra information. Apparently she's there in the Whitsunday, so I might see if I can reach out to her. It'd be really good if you know someone, if somebody knows her, or if she's listening in. I'd love to have you on to you because you had some really good information that added to majority of what we already knew about how bad the jab was. But it was very good. Obviously, there was a bit from Dinesh D'Souza, who did the 10,000 Mules documentary. I haven't seen it. You definitely should. I found it was a good opportune moment to go for a piss because I'd already seen the documentary. The one mistake I made was they led into the to the halftime break. What do you call it? Intermission. And I was like 3 minutes out from the end, going, I should probably go get a beer now. And I bloody wish I did because the queue was huge. So anyway, just another example of when you get that inner voice in your head that says, go get a beer now, listen to it. All right. Very important, especially for those of you who want a beer and don't want to wait forever to get it. Anyway, Clive gave us, check the details of the case. Oh, that's right. There was a case that I have to look into. Apparently, Karina Carroll resigned after admitted she didn't even read what she signed. She did what she was required for her career and did the government's bidding, fundamentally, is the note that I've made there. So I want to look into that a little bit further. Another interesting fact, our dollar has declined to 2/3 of its original value prior to this. That's a big one. That's a huge one. So, the idea that every $3 that you have is now worth $2 is very important to understanding the current economic state of this country. I'm glad he cut away the Titanic thing, and I think he realised during the show that, we're losing the audience because we don't, good on you, you're building the second Titanic, man, that's awesome, but that's not what we were there for. And the fundamental message that we should do all we can. Apparently, we have, the death number is increasing. So even though people have stopped taking the jab, more and more people are dying. Was an interesting thing. That he brought in 37 million doses of hydroxychloroquine. 37 million doses of hydroxychloroquine he brought in. I think he spent $10 million or something to that effect. I'd love to have a yarn with Clive, actually, to get nutted out properly. But yeah, he spent a lot of money bringing in 37,000 doses of hydroxychloroquine because he thought that was the way to go. But ScoMo, Greg Hunt destroyed it all in order to save the vaccine manufacturers. Because that's the only reason you do it. Was it $1 million to fund the research on hydroxychloroquine, and TGA blocked it. The money just disappeared. Lots of good things, He gave a very interesting story about his time in hospital. I won't ruin it for those of you who haven't seen it yet. One of the other amazing turns, when Tucker gets up there, I love the way he called, basically stated that they're making a mockery of democracy. That was such a well-placed terminology. Very good. Fundamentally, the jokes about the low standards of journalism, and, there was a lot of jokes about, just truth. You come up here to North Queensland in particular, we've got a shitload of snakes. I do have to correct you, Tucker. You said we got like three of the most deadly snakes. Maybe here in Queensland we have 3 of the most deadly snakes, but across Australia we have 8 out of 10 of the most deadly snakes in the world. And he's like, what the fuck, but you're afraid of guns? He's like, man, I'm afraid of the snakes. Fuck, need the gun. We need them guns to protect us from the snakes, So that was, and it's a very typical American sort of a jovial approach to the way they see Australia. We should have guns. Why shouldn't we? It's very, very important thing, I think, to be armed against particularly a corrupt criminal government that we have right now. It hasn't stopped the criminals running around with guns. The only people who don't have guns are the responsible people. They've just made it hard for responsible people to have guns. That's the important thing to take away there. Not that that's what he said. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I see it. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick rundown. Look, I think it's a great show. If you haven't had a chance to see it and you have an opportunity to do so, go ahead. Go have a look. But ultimately, the big takeaway was he tried to encourage people to fucking step up and do shit, man. And shit, I do that every week too. So, yeah. That's the breakdown of that one. Where do we go from here? There's a few ways I could go. Oh, what was did everybody say they wanted to watch it now? That was the question. Yes, please. Yes, thanks. All right, cool. So, yeah. Seeing him tomorrow in Melbourne Angry Productions. Awesome. Good on you, mate. Yeah, you'll enjoy it. Just remember, intermission, get that beer. All right, before intermission, go and watch 10,000 Mules now, and that's your opportunity to go for a piss and get your beer before they go to intermission, and then you don't have to stand around in the queue. You'll have plenty of time to go out for a smoke if you're rich enough to be able to afford a Labor taxed cigarette. So apparently everybody wants to see how wind farms are made. So here's a 3-minute presentation that I think is very important for the horrific waste of resources that is the wind farms, and especially after watching them catch fire so quickly. You're worried about a little bit of coal, burning to make sure that we have power and it's functioned so well for so long. But have a look at this horrific waste of resources.
You know how wind turbines are built? Let's start the base of the tower. First, a circular base is formed using concrete. Once the cement dries, a series of intersecting pipes are installed with screws. Around these pipes, reinforcement bars are laid to form a larger circular plate. After sealing it with a lid, concrete is poured inside. Holes several meters deep are drilled into the pipes, and excess pipe material is ground off. A high-strength metal disc is then fitted over the holes. Next, a high-pressure pump injects composite resin material into these holes, and after the injection, a steel rod is inserted into each hole. The intersecting angles of these rods underground firmly lock them into the rock layer. The gaps in the metal disc are filled with sealant and locked with screws. The bolts on the disc are reserved for mounting the tower. For wind turbines over 5 megawatts, the base needs to be deeper and larger. The ground is leveled using a grouting machine, and a 3-meter-high base is installed at the center, which acts as a vertical base, connecting and positioning the wind turbine. Reinforcement bars form a chassis shape, creating a conical base for the tower. This requires a larger grouting machine and consumes thousands of tons of concrete, with continuous 24-hour work until the concrete is sufficiently solidified in a month. The base is then buried with soil. Next to the turbine base, a trench is dug for laying cables that transmit electricity. The other end of the cable is connected to the wind turbine substation. The substation manages, transforms, transmits, and distributes the electricity generated by multiple wind turbines, ultimately connecting to the national grid. Once everything is ready, the wind turbine assembly can begin. The blades, typically over 40 meters long, are the most challenging to transport, requiring specially equipped trucks and experienced drivers. The tower is transported in sections and assembled on site with 2 cranes. One uses a special hook, and the other uses steel ropes to lift and vertically flip the column. After aligning and tightening each screw, workers enter the scene. Now, the second column is hoisted, with the workers inside completing the connection and locking. The third segment, lifted to a height of 50 meters, requires the driver to use a walkie-talkie for precision alignment. With this segment in place, the tower is complete. Next is the nacelle, weighing over 20 tons. It's hoisted with ropes to prevent swaying. The nacelle is the heart of the wind turbine, including the gearbox, generator, and control system. After securing the nacelle, the hub is installed. This is the hub first. Flip the hub over to the vertical. Although a rotating component has a fixed installation angle and is secured once the angle is perfectly aligned. Finally, the blades are installed. These massive blades require custom lifting tools for hoisting, controlled by ropes in 4 directions to ensure stability during lifting. The tension below helps with the connection when the blades reach their final height. After installation, workers manually remove the ropes, and the driver slowly removes the lifting tools from the blades. Once the last blade is installed, the wind part of the turbine is complete.
So there you go. That's astounding how much resources go into it, and I did see, let's see, where is it? This one? When you are told that mining coal is bad, but mining copper, lithium, cobalt, and nickel is good, you are being conned. Coal, oil, and gas are hydrocarbons, compounds of carbon and hydrogen. Burned in the air, they join with oxygen and form H2O and CO2, water and carbon dioxide, essential to life. And anybody who knows anything that, the way plants photosynthesize, they take carbon dioxide, breathe that shit in, and then breathe out the oxygen for us to breathe. Rather important, I would think. And in the meantime, they're bulldozing the plants in the trees to put this shit up, destroying rainforest, lunatics, Only in politics are they classified as pollutants. Natural impurities make pollutants yet these are scrubbed out. So I thought that was a very important thing that needs to go in there, you know. I mean, of course, we can never forget the Koala Club. I can never get enough of looking at that. It's just too much fun. So, yeah, I think we've managed to cover that. Oh, well, of course, there is one more little element to add in, you know. It's very important from Blackout Bowen himself. You know, if you want to stop these things, you know, save the whales, you know, I mean, now they want to put them offshore as well as onshore, as if, you know, they haven't caused enough fucking problems. You know, if you don't like our policies, don't vote for us. Direct quote from Chris Brown, right? Very important to make sure you never vote Labor ever again. I don't understand why anybody would. They are fucking full of shit. Absolutely full of shit. While we were kicking the dog while he's down as far as Channel 10 goes, it was important to see that Channel 9 are also having a few problems, and Craig Kelly says go woke, go broke. Channel 9 sold out their credibilities for 20 pieces of silver to shill their vaccines after their celebrities hand out medical advice for people to inject unsafe, ineffective, unnecessary, untested experimental substances. A substance that had zero long-term safety data, excuse me, and hadn't undergone the carcinogenic test. They wonder why the public no longer trusts them. And people are leaving in droves, of course. That's possibly why Channel 10 decided to, quick, we might try and save the last couple of viewers we've got by making a ridiculous conspiracy theory about the North Queensland Freedom Network. Actually, I think you drove the last couple of fucking people who were wondering, can we believe this dickhead anymore? We better go and have a look over there. And I'd like to thank all you new viewers who actually had a good change of heart and decided to actually check things for yourself rather than judging the taking the opinions of these friggin' idiots. Now, where was it? Now, this is the video that accompanied that post on X.
COVID has affected each and every one of us, but now we have a shot to get our lives back to normal.
This is our shot to protect our communities.
This is our shot to keep our borders open.
Our shot to explore the world again.
To welcome friends back to our shores.
Our shot to keep live music alive.
Our shot to keep families safe.
Our shot to keep the crowds coming.
Our shot to keep businesses open. And people in jobs.
Our shot to reunite families.
This is our shot to help save lives.
And to bring Australians home.
Our shot to get everyone together for Christmas.
This is our shot.
This is our shot.
Our shot.
This is our shot.
This is our shot.
I've had my shot.
This is my shot.
This is my shot.
This is my shot. Come on, Australia, let's get the job done. Start a conversation with your doctor about your shot.
Lest we forget. So, apparently 200 jobs in Channel 9 are on the way. 38 positions to go in news and a current scare. Now, this should be no surprise, but it's obviously going to be affecting the big city people for a change. See, this sort of shit's been happening out in the regional areas for a very long time. As I've stated in the past, and I'll state again, when I came up here to, you know, become a camera operator for Win TV, currently, or at the time, owned by Channel 10. You know, because they sell that backwards and forwards. It was Channel 9, then they sold it to Channel 10, and I think Channel 10 sold it back to 9 now because they don't really give a shit about the people in the country. You know, that's the way big business rolls. So if you're, you know, like me, somewhere out in the towns, you really should stop supporting these people. They just don't give a shit about you. They really don't. You know, so many people have lost their jobs here from the mainstream media. I mean, I willingly walked out because I'm like, this is such a fucking shit show, and I was utterly disgusted by the things we had to do, like what that fuckwit did to me, as I pointed out, by taking a sentence out of context, even to the extent that we, you know, and I apologize to the community for being a part of this, but I'd signed a 1-year contract. I was stuck. I had to take a part of one person's sentence and another part of that person's sentence and glue it together to make them say something they didn't actually say. So if they want you to say something, they'll fucking do it. That's lying. That's bullshit. You know, just like the way you framed what I said, you couch potato conspiracy theorist. You know, you're full of shit, and your time has come, and your judgment is calling. You know, For the, you know, the poor people who just turn up and they do their job, well, look, you know, to be honest, they're doing you a favor. You no longer have to be a part of such a criminal conspiracy. You know, the people who told everybody to go and take an unsafe, untested vaccine. It was a horrific thing to do. absolutely horrific. And I hope you all feel really, really bad for your partner, because I don't know, I feel bad for my part in the mainstream media. But here I am. I'm doing my civic duty. I'm spending my time, you know, to try and correct the damages that I know I've been a part of in order to earn a dollar. So, in amongst that, I'd like to thank Whiteboard, who will be coming to visit us at some point. Whiteboard sent me this. And you know who you are. Have a look at this. Nurofen is committed to help close the gender pain gap with new research and more training for doctors and pharmacists. That's even one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. They're going to close the gender pain gap? What, eat more fucking tablets will solve the problem here? Throw another pill at the problem. Look out, we've got a solution and it comes in the form of a pill. It's just like another cheap third world doctor that can barely speak English trying to tell me they can help me, you know? Well, I've got a pill for that. Fuck off. Absolute lunacy. I mean, of course, we've taken something a little bit out of... I don't know. Have I taken this out of context, though, when I think about it? Because that's the statement they've made. I don't know if there's something else to go along with this. Like, how do you close a gender pain gap? Like, I mean, what the fuck is a gender pain gap in the first place? Like, that's got to be one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard, you know? As if trust the science wasn't stupid enough. We've come up with gender pain gap. I mean, if that's a scientific word, then fucking hell, science is out the window. Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Here's another one I was going to tell you. Steps down. Oh, actually, we dealt with that one, didn't we? Steps Daniel Andrews fell down, awarded nation's highest honor. And there was a petition for that too. Actually, I actually lost a bunch of stuff that I had set up the other day. Sorry, can't talk typing. It's my kryptonite. Yep, here it is. Here it is. I'll bring that right up to the beginning. Add to the stage. Petition to revoke Daniel Andrews, Companion of the Order of Australia Award. This petition is now closed. I was too slow. Sorry. But 40,000 people signed it. So, you know, more than 40,000 people signed it. I was one of them. I apologize for, you know, not being able to get this information to you sooner so that you could have signed if you didn't get a chance. I'm sorry. But lots of people did sign. Hopefully it'll actually have some use. I don't know. Again, it's a bit of a political thing because, I mean, the Nationals, Liberal Party, of course they're going to do something like this because, you know, it'll be the Labor Party setting up a petition against nuclear energy. You know, it's a shit show. But hey, look, at the end of the day, you know, it should be the voice of the people and the people should have an opportunity to say their voice. But anyway, so, and another thing, while back to the energy thing, BlackRock have announced a $1 billion local investment into the battery storage system. And I had a bloody cool meme to go along with that. Where did it end up? Why is it not there? Did I press save on that properly? A bloody good one too. Alright, we might just bring up the original image. Oh, that's right, I couldn't because of the way I did it. Give me 1 second. And I will go back in time. It is there somewhere. Ah, there it is. And I did it in combination with that. That's right. Here we go. Alright, I obviously didn't click save properly on this one. So I better put it in now because I think it's very important. Gotta love these mistakes. I feel like I'm getting more and more mistakes made these days than I used to. Keep rushing things, I think that's the problem. Where did it go? I just saved the bloody thing. Alright, let's have another crack at that. Where did you end up? Meanwhile... Don't tell me, you still didn't do it. What? Save, motherfucker. There it is. Now I've got it. I open the image. Alright. So I hope you had a chance to read that while I was sorting it out, because, yeah. We're on a time limit today. But this is the image that went along with it. BlackRock announces $1 billion investment in local battery storage assets. If you want to read the article and continue down that, because I'm just going to glance through this quickly, go to Craig Kelly's X account, Craig Kelly, PHON, and you can follow the link that's here. But with Blackout, Bowen and Albanese cutting deals with BlackRock to invest in big batteries that catch fire and don't stop burning to connect to the grid, the one thing we can be sure of is that Australian families are going to get screwed. Australia needs to be investing in new coal-fired power stations that create electricity, not big batteries that use electricity. Very important construct that, because how do you fill the battery? From the grid. One of the things that I learned, when entertaining the idea of putting batteries on the house was to learn that, well, if your solar panels don't fill up the battery, we're going to drain from the grid to fill up the battery, because the battery needs to be X amount full. Otherwise, there's a problem. So there are more reasonings behind that. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, fundamentally, if your solar is what you're planning on filling up with, and let's face it, how often do we have multiple days of bugger all sunlight? There's more than likely the scenario, the batteries that you've put on your house are going to drain from the grid. It's going to cost you. So they're not exactly a sound solution economically or otherwise, really. Another important issue that I've noticed has popped up recently, the death tax. Can we just drop that comment quickly, please? All right, I got it. So, grieving families face hikes of up to 650% to process wills in planned state government cash grab. Taxed to death. Well done, Victoria, for leading the way in tyranny yet again. Was not one of the main reasons that Bill Shorten lost the federal election some 6 years ago the fact that he tried to push a death tax? Well, it's as if the Labor Party knows they are that far gone, that the people hate them that much, they just don't give a shit anymore. Maybe we'll just do as much damage as we can on the way out. I can't help but feel that's their attitude. I can't think of another way to explain this. Why a death tax? That's just fucked. That's seriously fucked. And when we look into it, here's a little bit more on the scenario. One of the few articles I have brought out here because it's relevant. Victoria considers probate fee hike. So, 650% looks pretty big when you look at it that way. But when we look at the numbers, the fee is currently set at $66.80 in Victoria when the estate's total value is less than $500,000. It rises to $357.80 if the estate is worth between $500,000 and $1 million, and peaks to $2,257.80 if the estate is worth $3 million or more. Excuse me. The Department of Justice and Community Safety has proposed 3 options for price changes. Under its preferred option, a zero fee tier would be introduced for small estates. And let's face it, if to put it in context, I know my parents sort of bought a house. I think it was roughly around $30,000 sometime back in the late 70s, and she's probably moving up to that $1 million estate now. So based on that, me and my siblings will have to pay $357 because it well and truly sits in that bracket. But they bought it for $30,000. And that's because of what they've done to this country, the way they've devalued money. And again, to say that between $500,000 and $1 million dollars, let's look in the context of that. That $500,000 and $1 million are actually worth 2/3 less than what they did 4 years ago. So by setting a cap there where we're going to continuously deflate the value of money, and the cost of real assets such as property and gold and things like that are going to continue to skyrocket as they continue to destroy the value of money. You see that it won't be long before everything is $3 million and more. And it makes it almost impossible for, you know, we've all seen the videos how hard it is for millennials in particular. You know, I dread to think what my kids are going to have to go through to try and buy a house. It was hard enough for me to try and figure out a way, and the best way to do that was to get the fuck out of Victoria, and god damn, I'm glad I did. But unfortunately, a large portion of my family is still stuck under this tyrannical Labor government in Victoria. Fucking idiots who keep voting for these people. But honestly, I think they just keep importing their voters. I think it's the only way the Labor Party can survive is continuously importing people and then conning them into voting for Labor because they don't know any better or they can't read the language or whatever. It's amazing how many people you come across even here in Townsville that can't speak a word of English. What the fuck? It's madness. You know, of course they're saying it's a bit of fear mongering and, you know, frankly, it's just ridiculous and all this sort of shit, you know. But at the end of the day, it's just another tax. I mean, you can't sit there and run an election campaign on, look at us, we're reducing your tax, we're reducing your tax, while you do shit like this. You know, it's disgraceful. Fucking disgraceful. You know, the Labor Party are one of the biggest taxation parties you'll ever come across, you know, and you don't believe me, go down to the local bottle-o, buy a packet of smokes and a carton of beer. And let me know how much it hurts. That's how much the Labor Party gives a shit about you because they're the ones who put those fucking taxes in place, you know. While we're at it, here we go, some cash. You know, the war on cash is a war on freedom. When all cash is gone, how do you buy anything when the computer says no to your digital money? Well, exactly, that's the idea. Very important stuff. Another meme I've got here while we're looking at them. Arguing that you don't care about the right to privacy because you have nothing to hide is no different than saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say. You know, that really should have gone along with one of the earlier posts, but it's here now. And in honor of the Facebook ban, gulag, as Michael calls it, for Cafe Locked Out. You know, I reached out to Mark Zuckerberg because their original explanation was utterly shit. And I asked him what was going on, and this is what he came back with. Your post doesn't meet our double standards. You're banned until you think like a liberal. Apparently, it's going to take 10 years to convert those of us at the Cafe Locked Out clan to be brainwashed into thinking like this. Although I was speaking to somebody the other day, you know, and if you're watching, you know who you are, g'day. I love the idea, actually, that in about 10 years, Facebook will probably be dead and buried because, well, they'll have banned anybody who was still using it. The younger generation don't give a fuck about it. Facebook's pretty much dead in the water. You keep banning everybody that uses it, you're not going to have many people left. So, speaking about kids, a couple of kids. Oh, actually, I did that the other day. We don't need to do that one again. You know, things to do in Victoria. Leave, definitely important, especially in light of this. You know, so, you know, seriously, anybody who still owns property in Victoria, respond to this death tax. Sell up, get the fuck out. Come join us in Queensland, where I think we might just have one of the best chances of beating back the tyranny. You know, I think there's still enough good Australians left in Queensland who still think old school to save this place from here. Well, I've gotten through all the memes. I know I won't have to go back to them now. So let's have a look at the local situation, which I think is somewhat important. You know, obviously, our mayor, the only way you can really hear from him at the moment is via his own page. There's not a lot really happening at the moment. He shut down comments for obvious reasons. Quite a bit has happened, but I kind of wanted to. There's a lot to sort of look at, but yeah, media release, councillors taking matters into their own hands. Minister remains silent. The minister has remained conspicuously. That's an interesting word. You know, silent regarding his rogue council's unlawful actions. I pose the question: would the department tolerate such behaviour across all of Queensland, or is it only in Townsville that democracy seems to hold no sway? Premier Stephen Miles' recent media comments appear desperate as he attempts to maintain relevance. It was interesting. Like, you think back to what he said in that previous news report we brought up, where he said this defective council. Well, it can't be Troy because he's not in there. So he must be referring to his own Labor cronies who have made the council defective. It's pretty interesting. Again, it's another statement where the left eats themselves and they fuck themselves over royally. So I really want to thank the liar, Steve Liar Miles himself, for, you know, making such a astounding statement about the council being defective when so many of his Labor puppets are the result of that defection. Unfortunately, these comments seem to endorse the erosion of democracy rights for Townsville residents by calling for the democratically elected mayor's resignation based on personal preferences. The Premier undermines the very essence of our system. The councillors have overstepped their bounds, wielding power akin to the minister's authority under the Act. This should concern anyone who values our democratic process. Now, it is a rather lengthy thing, and I encourage everybody to go and actually just read his statements. Just because I'm strapped for time, I don't want to get into it too much. You know, he's got a media release here. Council acting CEO unlawfully blocks the mayor to return for office. So in short, they've hired security to stop him from even entering the building. He's the democratically elected mayor. You know, as I understand it, well, hear it from Troy himself. Tell me if you can hear this.
Councils are avoiding it because they know they've put in place the wrong decision. They've got the wrong advice, but they know they have. They just won't admit it.
We're abiding by all the rules of the Act and the local government.
Can't hear it? All right. So basically, he said they've got the wrong advice and what they're doing is wrong, you know, and the CEO reckons he's doing the right thing. Well, it's not right. They dodge the questions of the legality of their decisions, you know. Council's deputy mayor, actually... Don't look. Actually, I think I already did this. Give me a second. No, I didn't. Give me a second. So I'll download that video. So, but fundamentally, they're blocking him from even entering to do his job, which is utterly ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this. This is, again, a weaponization of the legal system in order to, you know, gain their own power. And as I was saying earlier, I think it's really blown up in their face because they've released the budget. It's on the councillors. Troy was not in there. Whether he would have done something or not, well, it's kind of a moot point because, well, he wasn't there to fix the situation. He wasn't there to stop the new parking meters, the raises in rates and all that sort of stuff. You know, again, he'd made promises that he was going to freeze the rates. Was he going to be able to do that given that there's quite possibly a horrific mismanagement? Because that's what Labor does, you know, whether they're Labor cronies or, you know, Labor in general, they just spend because it's not their money and they don't give a shit about you, the people. They always do this. And you know, like ever since I was a kid, you know, I got caught up in the bullshit about, you know, oh, we need a change, we should vote Labor. That was basically the big sales pitch. And, you know, and as a young, you know, teenager trying to make sense of this, I wasn't happy with the way the Liberal Party had run things, that's for sure. I mean, you know, I wanted things to be better for, you know, the Australian people and obviously myself. But, don't give me that shit. Stupid bloody thing. All right, I'll find another way. You know, I got caught up in that crap, you know, and I expressed what I thought to Mum and Dad, and Mum and Dad's gone, that's because you weren't old enough to remember what bloody Labor did the last time. Every time they get in, they spend money like it's going out of fashion, they run the country into debt, they are absolutely bloody useless, and they started telling me about how bad Gough Whitlam was and how he had to be removed, you know, because he was out of control. You know, I mean, obviously, the Labor Party have learnt from their mistakes and they've stitched up the entire situation by putting in their own Governor General, the only person that can remove someone as useless as fucking Elbow. So they've got the whole system stitched up. It's completely freaking corrupt, you know. It shouldn't even be a situation where, you know, the Labor Party can appoint their own Labor left-hard cronies into the system to make sure that they can't be removed. That's ridiculous, you know. And it's another demonstration of, well, how can you fix this system? You know, where does Troy go to get some sort of ruling made on this sort of shit when everyone in the system is another corrupt puppet of the system? You know, obviously they need to do things in some manner where people can at least have some kind of faith in the system. But does anybody have any faith left? I mean, I think you'd have to be pretty bloody daft at this point to actually think that, okay. It's not going to let me do what I want to do. So anyway, you'll just have to take my word for it. I couldn't. If you want to watch it, go to his own webpage. And by the way, look out. There's a lot of fake ones. It's amazing how many fake accounts there are of Mayor Troy Thompson. I've never seen this shit. And where's Facebook going? Why haven't they stopped it? As I understand it, he's tried to report the situation to Facebook, but they're not doing anything. I guess it's because he's not a leftard fucking piece of shit. Apparently, we've got the OIA has rejected complaints against the mayor by the council. So the council are again weaponizing the system and just continuously making claims about his comments on Facebook that he's acting inappropriately, and they've pretty much shot that down. That's the short of that one. He's made his own comment about the budget. So 78 days ago, a new council was sworn in. The voting public sent a clear message to Councillor Jenny Hill, Team Hill, and Labor by electing a new mayor and 6 new councillors to bring about change and address the financial challenges. Unfortunately, some of those new ones were Team Change, who were just another version of the Labor Party, and it's important to remember the Labor Party is fractured at the moment, as that they have split into a left and right scenario themselves, as they desperately try to scramble for what the people actually want while they're trying to push vile leftist agendas that, let's face it, only a handful of people really give a shit about, versus their strong worker Labor union sort of mob who have gone, well, I want to go hunting, I want to go fishing, I want to have a beer and a cigarette, and you guys are killing us, so they're in a lot of trouble. And I think they're falling apart on their own accord because they just don't have anything. They're not listening to the people. They're trying to tell you what to think. That's the problem. And why are they telling you what to think? Because somebody higher up than them is telling them what to tell you what to think. Because we know Albanese, he's a fucking idiot. He, much like this fucking idiot here at Town 10 News. They're not smart enough to conspire. They're not smart enough to create plans of their own. They just follow the rules. They follow the orders. They're drones, And for those of you who've watched Star Trek, you know what a Borg drone looks like, and why do the Borg always fail? I mean, I look at the idea of this collectivism quite simply as the way I looked at my band, for instance. It was only as strong as the weakest link, and there was always weak links. Didn't matter how strong I was. I might have been one really good link that held everything together and kept doing as much as I could and working as hard as I could. But all these keychains that were hanging off me weren't really much help. There was a couple in there that did help from time to time, sort of thing, but Struth, you only get in what you put out, and when I'm the one putting everything out and everybody else is doing fuck all. And this is the problem with the Borg collective, like the Labor Party, and the way they try to run, sort of a union agenda. There's a hell of a lot of followers, a hell of a lot of dumbasses, and you're only as strong as that weakest link. That's why I don't think their method of doing things is very, very effective, especially when you look at the 3 Stooges we got here in town. There's some pretty bloody weak links, very weak links. It's truth. I'd love to tell you some stories, but they're not my stories to tell. But wouldn't trust any of these guys as far as you could throw them. But maybe one day those people will come forth and tell their stories. So anyway, I've gone off on a tangent again. So, however, this budget feels like a continuation of the old Team Hill approach. By unlawfully locking me out of the building, the executive has pursued its own agenda without my policy guidance, as required by the Local Government Act. The fundamental purpose of local government is to deliver essential services and maintenance to residents. Pretty sure I said that at the beginning of this podcast, didn't I? Astounding. Things like rubbish collection, road maintenance, and water supply. Parking even. Maybe instead of selling off land that was designated as a car park so that you could develop it for more rates, you could have built land for places, allowed places for people to park. Then you wouldn't need parking meters. Or was that the plan all along? What? And here's one of these wild conspiracy theories is if I've traveled all around the country, it's the same fucking problem everywhere. Oh, well, we haven't got enough parking, so the solution is parking meters to encourage people not to park there. That works really well for the people who have got to go there to work. That works really well for the people who need to engage in specific business services. This is lunacy. That's madness. And so sometimes you don't know how long you got to go somewhere. Anybody's at the standing on the Centrelink line, for example. Well, do I put $1 in? Do I put $2 in? Do I put $10 in? I could be here all fucking day. You don't know until you get there. How are you supposed to plan that out? I'm going to preemptively give more money than I need to because I don't know how long I'm going to be at a friggin' spot. And then, or maybe I parked in a spot that's only 2 hours maximum and fucking Centrelink had me in a queue for 3 hours. It doesn't matter how much money you pump in then. You're going to get screwed anyway. So this is not a system that works for people. Provide the services. I've known people over the years who have owned businesses, and one of the things when they set up a business, you get your shop front or whatnot, how many customers do you think you're going to have? How much parking space do you need before we can allocate this specific business to this place and this time, And how many places do you go where the car park's totally overcrowded? Well, everybody's been asked that system. The council knows how many car parks were required of all these businesses, yet you allowed it to overflow. That's bad management. You can't put that on the businesses. This is council's fault. Council fucked this shit up on purpose, I think, so that they got a reason to put in parking meters. We've allowed this situation to get out of hand so we can fine you more, the general public, by charging you more for these services that you're supposed to provide. That's what you're employed for. That's your fucking job, dickheads. Every last one of yous. Your fucking job is to provide the services, not tax me further for them. This is bullshit. So anyway, you can read all this shit yourself. You can see he's basically saying, and as far as I'm concerned, well, Troy is released from this shit. Every one of you councillors who have voted for this shit and then jumped on Facebook and tried to give him some convincing bullshit. Oh, it's with great regret that we have to do this. Really? Did you have to do this? Did you? Did you do it just to keep your job? Did you do it because somebody coerced you into it? Did you do it because you're a Labor crony and you don't give a shit about the people? Did you analyse any other options? Or did you just follow what was set out by the previous administration that we got rid of for good bloody reason? You people are nuts. So this is what the Townsville City Council, the Townsville Bulletin do such a shit job. Again, I'll actually have to go and do my own research to figure this shit out a little bit further. But just to give it a brief overhaul, we're looking at a 5.1% rate rise. It's a big chunk of coin, especially while everybody's fucking hurting. Thanks, guys. Well done. Parking costs additional $1 per hour. They're currently $1 per hour. So that's a 200% increase. Well done. 200% increase. Oh, thanks for hitting that button. Cheers. So yeah, Townsville Bulletin, as I said, or conspiracy theorist newspaper, I should say. Until you remove Cameron Bates as a reporter, you are a conspiracy theorist newspaper because he peddled a conspiracy theory. So I'd just like to point that out to the Townsville Bulletin. While he remains employed, at the end of the day, that was the biggest pile of tabloid shit I've ever seen. He should be writing for the Woman's Day, really. He's an award-winning journalist. Well, there's his award right there. Fail of the week for being a conspiracy theorist. Anyway, the council approved the budget in a unanimous vote. They all voted for it. They all allowed, every one of them councillors, every one of them. Introducing paid parking like the Strand was going to be a massive economic and social impact. No shit. Said this year there had been the highest number of businesses insolvencies in a long time. The current state of the Townsville City, for those who don't know, is pretty much tumbleweeds roll through it because they put parking meters in a few years ago. Did they learn their lesson? No. They're hell-bent on destroying more businesses in this town. How many businesses along the Strand are going to suffer? But it's not just the Strand. There's more places they've hit, highest number of businesses insolvencies. So, so there are increases to business we're experiencing, including food and electricity. No shit. She felt paid parking would discourage people from visiting the Strand. Fucking oath. I won't be going. That's it. I just won't be going, do I even want to accept a job on the Strand? Like, what's the point of me going to work on the Strand if I've got to pay to work? Fuck you, you assholes. Don't you tax me enough? And it was taking a free meeting place away from the community. Yeah. I wonder if it's because the My Place mob go there every week. Is that why you're fucking taxing it? Did you attack the entire Strand and all of Townsville just because my place have a stand in the park there every Sunday on the Strand? Is that why you did it? I wonder. Just a question. I'm not making a statement. I'm asking a question. Paid parking in the CBD has not been successful. No shit. So, you know what we do when we've got a dumbass idea that doesn't work? That's right. We do it again. Welcome to government in this fucking state. What a fucking joke. There has been no consultation. No consultation. Well, certainly didn't ask me. And in fact, I encourage the people to ask these fucking morons if they plan to do this shit. Did anybody do that? Did anybody get a response? I want to know. Let's have a look. What else have we got here? Acting Mayor Paul Jacobs said it was no longer sustainable to keep costs low, forcing the council to increase rates and some fees like parking. Now, if I remember correctly, and there's a chance that I may, that just before the election, all the councillors and shit got a big pay rise. Is that why it's no longer sustainable? Just a question. The budget speech that would equate to $3.70 per week. I like the way they reduced that. So let's put that into a yearly context, because, you know, when they're trying to sell you a tax cut, for instance, they give you the yearly amount. So let's return the favor. So they reckon $3.70, and we're going to times that by the 52 weeks in a year, $192.40 per year, you know, and you so seeing as we've got to pay rates every half a year, that's $100 a month. Let's just round it up. $100 every every half a year. Every rates bill has just gone up. Thanks, asshole. Thank you very much. The rates discount applied if residents paid it on time has been slashed. So if you paid your rates on time, which not everybody can, some of us have got to get bloody payment plans because we can't afford the bloody excessive rates as it is, you know, slashed from 10% to 5%, which is basically whatever so the increase is now cancelled out any rates, right? Any benefit you might have gotten, to put it into context, you know. So that, you know, it was 10%. If it had stayed at 10%, you would have had, you know, lost 5% sort of thing, you know. Now that they've reduced that 10% to 5%, you've completely lost. Well done, guys. You guys really know how to screw the pooch. Land valuations 2021, which include increases of upward of 40% on some properties, are still hanging over the heads of some ratepayers, which the council capped increases at 10%. There's no denying it. It's been hard and fast learning experience for all of us, he said. I won't mince my words. Today's budget is bold. No, it's a kick in the dick. You fucked us over, you know. And is it because the you know, much like the stain of Dan Andrews on Victoria, is it the stain of Mayor Jenny Hill? Because they're not really saying that. And why would they? Because she's an advisory to this newspaper. They won't have a bad word to say about her, even though I'm pretty confident this is her fault. Bad. You know, they planned, or I would state, this is my idea, that I think they planned damn well to keep things low until the election. Hoping that if they didn't screw the pooch a little bit too hard, we'll get over the line, we'll get voted in, then we'll fuck them really hard at the beginning of the first 4 years, you know, to pay back all the fucking bullshit we fucked up in the last 4 years, you know, and then by the time we get to the end of the 4 years, they'll have forgotten the raping that we got, you know, right at the beginning. Perhaps that was the strategy. That's my theory, you know. I think it's a pretty fucking good one. But anyway, enough of this. You know, it was more on the parking, because it's not just there, but there are other places around Townsville that are going to make life fucking hard, you know. And I dare say there's probably more to come. You know, I don't think it's going to stop there. I think they've fucked things up so badly, you know, that they're going to continuously fuck us hard. in various different places. And as a result, fuck the Townsville system up because, you know, what did Townsvillians say when they made them pay for parking in the city? We won't go there. You know, obviously their strategy is, well, if we put parking meters everywhere, they'll have to go somewhere. Fucking assholes. Anyway, of course, us horrible people in the far north of Queensland keep making bad decisions, and of course, the mainstream media, who are all Murdoch media, newspaper-wise, are going to continuously remind us of this. Now, apparently, a Cairns mayor, Amy Eden, has been referred to the corruption watchdog, just like Troy, over a conflict of interest matter. Now, how much weight this has got to it, again, I'll have to look into it, but the conflict of interest concerns related to the Cairns Regional Council's mayor over an interim CEO appointment have been referred to a top independent watchdog. I like the way they like to add weight to it, by a top independent watchdog. What, is there a lower one? The state's local government minister has confirmed. Cairns Mayor Amy Eden sensationally walked out of a press conference last Wednesday after being asked if she was under investigation by the Crime and Corruption Commission. If she's under investigation, you can't talk about it, and you know that. So, again, you're trying to inflame a situation. You know, the question was in relation to the appointment of her former campaign advisor, John Alderic, to the role of interim chief executive in late May. Mrs. Alderic is not accused of any wrongdoing. Not accused of any wrongdoing. So what's this about? In a statement issued that afternoon, the mayor, who chaired a recruitment panel which recommended her advisor as the top candidate, said she wasn't aware of any investigation. Has repeatedly denied any conflict of interest. But while visiting Cairns to make a housing announcement on Tuesday, local government minister Megan Scallon said the relevant authorities have been informed of the matter. I understand that there have been allegations made. Those have been put to the relevant authorities. For that reason, I have to be careful with any comments I make. There you go. Stating exactly what I know. Time of denial. I like the way they've created this little, timeline. That's pretty funny, I don't know much about Amy Eden. Perhaps those in the Cairns region can probably give me a little bit more to work on there. Is this just another assault on somebody who's not doing, the Labor Party's bidding? That's the first question I ask. Feel free to read that a little bit further. Of course, to our south, we have a Whitsundays candidate, formerly, ran for One Nation. She's also appeared on this podcast. Julie Hall, lovely lady. I actually did a cartoon for her too once she found out I did the originals. I should bring that up, shouldn't I? Why not sell my services again? Just a little bit of shameless self-promotion. Let's see if I can dig that up. So I'll come back to that. I'll dig that up while we're playing one of these other videos because we've got a couple of things to still get into. She of course, she made a white slavery comment in relation to the native title stuff, which has been knocked out by the Kabi Kabi people. Kabi Kabi people actually contacted me the other day in regards to not last Friday's, but the Friday before, where we had Struth. The NDA mob come on, and they wanted to make it clear that they were not actually involved with those people. Where have I saved it? No, it's not there. It's not there. No, that was a simulation theory stuff. Sorry, I've gone blank because that's just popped into my head. Just give me a second just to make sure I get this. I want to get my words right. Namdaka Dala Australis. So, we had a lady claiming that she is the law chief, going by the name Maya, and the Kabi Kabi people just have reached out to me to say that they are not actually working with them. I believe that she did say she thought they were. I don't know that. I have to check the podcast to be certain. I don't believe she said they absolutely were, but I think she kind of implied that they might have been, and the Kabi Kabi people have stated that they most certainly are not, and they don't particularly approve of those particular methods being employed. I've reached out for them to comment further. Hopefully they'll come back to me. I have spoken to Witbuka before. Great bloke. Again, if you look at the original, this is going back quite some time now, but going right back to the
the Indigenous Voice video that I did. You'll see Whit Booker there. I've met him before about a year ago. Great bloke, very intelligent. I'm looking forward to chatting to him some more. And I do actually have more of his comments to come out in the Indigenous documentary, which we are, getting together. Sorry, these things do take time. Anyone who wants to chuck some funding in there so I can afford to take time off work to do it, because I'm kind of running out of time off work. I need to take unpaid time off work to do this sort of stuff, and it needs to be planned out meticulously. So if people want to help fund that documentary, trust me, I've got some fucking good shit for you guys. And there's these Indigenous people that I work with, I don't think we have anything to fear, although, Julie Hall obviously kind of feels that she does, because she's put the statement out that, what's next? Are we moving into white slavery? And having spoken to these people myself, I don't feel that that's the case. But she's obviously under fire for having made that statement. And I can only assume that she's making that statement out of her own personal fear. Rather than dive into the fear of these things, personally, I like to go and confront the source and go and talk to these people. And I've personally felt that I enjoy the company. They've been nice enough to welcome me out on country, particularly those ones up this way. I look forward to having a chat to the Kabi people a little bit more. When they reached out, they weren't aggressive in any manner. They just straight out said, this is what's going on. So just thought I'd address that one and point out that, just about every mayor up this way seems to be under fire for one thing or another. They don't like the fact that they're not a bunch of left-wing lunatics, I'm assuming. This is my conspiracy theory. Anyway, that's enough for the printed media for now. Let's come back to some of these other videos that have been punched in. I think while we're talking about council, and I think it's one that's very, very important, that we deal with here. Yes, I know, thank you. Got old voice behind the door telling me what time it is. That we have water pollution scenario going on. It may have something to do with fire retardant chemicals, I believe. But have a look at this and decide for yourself.
Well, drinking water across parts of Australia has been found to contain dangerous cancer-causing chemicals. The contaminants were found in every state across the country, with hotspots in New South Wales and Queensland. Joining us for more is Dr. Marion Lloyd-Smith, live from Ballina. Dr. Marion, thanks so much for your time this morning. This is pretty alarming. We're talking about tap water here. I mean, something we all consume every day. So just how dangerous are the chemicals currently allowed in our tap water?
They're a very nasty group of chemicals. There's about 14,000 PFAS chemicals, different ones for different uses. But what we know is they're linked to kidney and liver disease, dysregulation of our thyroid and insulin, reproductive problems, developmental problems in children, and of course cancer. And the makers of these chemicals have had to pay out many millions of dollars in the US to people who have been exposed and have suffered cancer. Unbelievably, though, our regulatory agencies here in Australia just dismiss all of this evidence and say that there's no clear evidence that they cause disease, which honestly is beyond belief. So we are talking about a very nasty group, which are also bioaccumulative. They build up in our bodies. Women pass them on to their children. They're transboundary. They volatilize into the air and disappear into a different country that may never have used them. So they really are a horrible bunch.
I mean, Doc, hearing you talk about it in such a way is troubling in the sense that, I mean, how much do you actually have to consume it? Because you look around you right now, everyone seems to be okay currently consuming this water. What are we talking about here in terms of who it's affecting and how much you actually have to consume before it's impacting you?
We literally don't know that fact. And even though there's been so much work over the last 20 years on PFAS chemicals in assessment, both at UN level and in the US, we don't know exactly how much will cause disease. And the problem is, because they're bioaccumulative, every exposure just builds up a little bit more in your body. And so I can't say this amount will cause this disease. What we can say is the US regulatory authorities have said clearly that they do not think there is a safe level of exposure. And once a regulatory agency says that, you really alert, every alarm bell. Basically, what they're saying is you need to reduce your exposure to as close to zero as you possibly can. And we know how hard that is, but it is still something we need to do.
Sorry, just to get an understanding of what that actually means. I mean, are we talking about not drinking tap water because bottled water is bad for you as well? Are we talking about not having baths? I mean, where do you draw the line?
Well, unfortunately, water is only one aspect of our exposure. Our exposure also comes through food. It comes through all the personal products that PFAS are involved in and all the industrial products that we may use a day that are made with PFAS. So I know it sounds ridiculous to say how we can reduce our exposure to zero, but what we need to do is try. And what we also need to do is see a government that gets these chemicals out of the commercial world. There is no reason to have 14,000 of these highly toxic, highly persistent chemicals.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's hope that. No, that's okay. Let's hope that review surely is underway because, as you said, it's happened in the US. It needs to happen here now. Marion, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
New revelations this morning. Tap water.
So there you go. And as you see on that map, Cairns is a hotspot, which is just up the road. There's a good chance Townsville may be as well. It's important that we get on to that. Don't leave it to me. I present the podcast. It's up to you people to help me out. Write to these people, hammer the fuck out of them, and come back with the information. Help me out, please. There's only so much I can do. I'm one man. I'd like to thank my 9 people. 9 people out of the thousands that watch this chipped in, and to become Patreons. Jeannie, Lee, Jennifer, Gaza, Mark, Carla, Karina, Ruben, and thankfully Terrence, my newest one. There was a big gap there where nobody was joining up. Terrence is the first to step up and hopefully start a wave of people who love this show enough to want to support it, And, I honestly felt like I didn't really want to do the show today because there's my family banging on the door telling me, fucking time up, come on, we want you back, If there's an economic incentive, then I can say, go away, voice behind the door, We're earning money here. Then I'm happy to do more of this shit rather than less. But because Terrence popped his $10 on the line, I'm doing this show. This show's been dedicated to Terrence, and of course all my other amazing supporters. Big shout out to Richo, fucking great bloke who has supported what is hopefully going to be the beginning of our merchandising campaign to hopefully also get some cash rolling. Still looking into how to do that. If there's somebody out here in the Townsville community in particular, I'd really like to keep this local, but I understand it's a bit challenging here in Townsville. We don't have the same sort of resources you have in like cities, and even in cities I struggle to get good merchandising stuff going. But if there's somebody out there who can get stubby coolers, t-shirts, stickers, that sort of shit going and able to help us get it out there, I'd like to have as... Fundamentally, I just want to design the shit, slap it on what it needs to be do, and somebody else take care of it. If you take a cut out of that to cover your costs, give me a call and we'll sort something out. I'd like to get this going through a Cafe Locked-Out store as well, but I don't know. Long story short, anybody can help out with that kind of thing. Fucking hit me up, North Queensland Freedom Network or NQ Freedom Network at at protonmail.com, sorry. So there's the thing. If you know somebody who can help out, or if you are somebody who can help out, jump on. Hey, even some sponsors, any businesses out there who want to get a free plug. Look, we do this all the time. We're reaching out to thousands of people. Come on, jump on. Do you want Australian products? Look, I'd love Australian products, but I realise it's hard to get. When I was in the Banbogan Nation, I reached out to so many people because I wanted Australian-made everything, but you just can't get it. They've destroyed our country to that point where it's almost impossible to get Australian-made products. But if there is a way, and we can do it where it's economically viable, I don't want to have to charge $100 for a T-shirt, for example. I mean, if we can bring it down to a reasonable price, I don't think we should really charge more than $30 for a T-shirt. It's kind of where I would like to think, but I don't know the state of the system at the moment. I just haven't had a chance to look at it. Anybody else interested in becoming a patron to support this stuff, jump on, please do. I've calculated it out there. I could possibly survive on about 500 Patreons. roundabout. I might need a bit more, but we'll have to see how that comes out and how they continuously destroy the economy. And now that I've just realised, thanks to a horrific budget from our council, that my cost of living has just gone up again. So thanks, guys. Really appreciated that from you, from the council. It was, wonderful kick in the dick this week. Of course, there's the GoFundMe, so we can get more out with the work with the Indigenous are doing, because they've had enough too. The only one, if the Labor Party is supporting an Indigenous group, there's a good chance they're on the payroll. There's a whole bunch of them out there that I'm working with and doing great things, who have had enough of this belligerent occupation themselves. They want to create a racial divide as far as, the Labor Party and those mob want to go. But the mob I'm speaking with and go out in country with and speak to on a regular basis, wonderful, amazing people, and they want the same thing as us. Don't fall into the fear campaign that, oh, blackfella, come steal my land, of bullshit. The thieves have already been. The thieves are the government. They're the criminals. They want the same as us, and that's the important thing. I've gone on a bit of a tangent here. There is a few things I wanted to deal with, but I can hear my ears burning. What do we need to do? This is one that has to be addressed. This is for sure. I'd just like to congratulate the Labor government on yet another fine award. The award of the crime capital of Australia. Well done. Let's hear it for the Labor Party. Queensland is now the crime capital. Thank you very much. And here's the lamestream telling you so.
Concerning new data that's labelled Queensland the crime capital of Australia, with hundreds of thousands of residents falling victim. Let's head live to Nine's Meg Sides in Brisbane. Meg, hello again. The public want politicians to get more involved.
Clint, understandably, Queensland is a frustrated. Crime capital is not a title any state wants to hold, but it is one that Queensland now does. New ABS data today shows that in 2023 there were almost 300,000 victims of crime in Queensland. Now, breaking down those numbers a little bit, in 2023 there were almost 58,500 assaults, almost 50,000 break-ins and 18,000 car thefts. We've been speaking to Queenslanders this morning and they want action.
I think it's disappointing that we've allowed the situation to occur. I think we need far more intervention programs, especially for young people.
They're concentrating, okay, building a bridge, that's good, having roads is good, but are the public safe or not? The politicians should go out to some of the suburbs there and try to talk to the people there. What are their fear? Why is it happening?
Now, from tomorrow, there will be additional support for Queenslanders, free counselling services on offer, but financial aid will still be reserved for victims who've experienced violent crimes. Clint?
Meg, thank you.
Well, they're going to provide counselling services. I ain't fucking counselling services. We need fucking justice, you bloody idiots. Like, this is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Like, and I'm just trying to find it because it was something I think I've got it on my phone here. I looked it up just the other day. I just got to make sure I get my wording right so I'll find it and bring it up for you people, because it's very relevant to that statement. And I think we'll end on this astounding joke here. No, that's not it. Must be on one of the other apps. Sorry, bear with me a second. There it is. Let's just send that to there, and then I can drag it up here. Sorry, one moment. The things I think of on the go, you think you got this shit sorted, and then that's not it. No, send it. Bloody machines. There we are. Grab that. There. So, this is one of the proposals that is kicking around at the moment. Nick DeMetto from the Katter Party. Legislation in motion is castle law. And, you know, a member of the community spoke to me about it the other day, and they're like, you should have this on your podcast. So you seek and you shall receive. You know, the right to defend yourself and others during a home and property invasion without fear of legal consequences may soon be a reality for Queenslanders after Hinchinbrook MP Nick Demetto introduced a Castle Law Bill into Queensland Parliament today. The private member's bill titled the Criminal Code, Defence of Dwellings and Other Premises Castle Law Amendment Bill 2024 aims to bolster the legal defence available to victims of home invasion who act to defend themselves even if the act results in a serious harm or death of an intruder. I mean, Streak, they shouldn't. If somebody's breaking in your house, as far as I'm concerned, I reckon we can solve the entire legal system problem. Shoot them, kill them, problem solved. No more crime. They won't come back and do it again. And, I mean, with that kind of thing hanging over your head, how likely are you to want to break into somebody's home? Right now, there's no fucking consequence because we've got this slap on the wrist bullshit from the Labor Party, who they must want crime. I can't figure out why you would continuously allow crime to get out of control unless you wanted it to. Why would you want that, you might ask? Well, it does come up with stunning ability to encourage people to go, we should have more Big Brother cameras around town, which is also adding to the cost of our rates. Jenny Hill told us that. She told us that back in the day, that your rates will go up if we can give you more cameras to make you feel safe, and we can get state and federal money to do that, but we're going to have to charge you more out of your rates, which is happening, to get more camera operators to watch them. And have they done any fucking good? Have they done a goddamn thing? What's the point of having these cameras around if you let the fucking criminals out anyway? What a waste of fucking time, waste of fucking money, and those cameras are obviously not there to catch criminals. They're there to find the fuck out of you. That's the reality of this situation as far as I'm concerned. Prove me fucking wrong. And hey, shit, even if you can now, I reckon we wait a couple of years, we'll find out that I'm right. And you can mark this down as the day that I told you that's what was going to happen. And sadly, I'll be sitting in the cell, probably in solitary, tapping on the door. It's fucking Morse code or something saying I told you so over and over again. So, will he be able to get this through? We'll see. You know, I certainly have questions about the Katter Party and, you know, it seems their alignment with certain left-wing elements, as much as they sort of come across the right-wing conservative construct. I'm starting to have my doubts, but let's see what happens. Will their brown-nosing to the Labor Party gain them the support they need? Let's find out. So I think we really should leave it there. There were other things I wanted to get, you know, to have spoken about. It's probably about another 10 minutes worth of shit, and yeah, I probably should leave it there. So, look, you know, you'll have to tune in next time. I might be able to bring some of these elements in. Maybe I'll find some time tomorrow. We've got a public holiday here in Townsville for show day. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to make any promises. But look, at the very least, look, I've reached out to a couple of people for a guest next Friday. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to go do something I haven't done in a long time. And I'm going to go do some meditation with some good people who, if you go right back to the beginning, very early video I did, my good friends at the Inner Light Meditation Center. I haven't been there in a very long time. It was great to catch up with Maurice for a chat. Again, previous podcast on our very first one on simulation theory. Go have a look at that. You know, if you want to keep spread the word about this shit, please share the fuck out of this, man. Like, that's the only way it's going to get going. Thank you, Janine. I'll definitely enjoy the rest of my day. You know, the family, looking forward to spending some time with us. You know, I look forward to spending time with them, but at the end of the day, how much time am I going to have with my family if we don't do something about this shit? That's the question I ask myself every day. You know, why am I motivated to do this shit? Because I look into my crystal ball over here and I see lightning coming to strike all of us on the fucking head in the form of shit government. You know, things aren't getting any better. They never have. So it's up to us to do something about it. So I leave you with the wonderful construct. Go and listen to Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. Have a good listen. Then go and have a good look in the mirror and ask yourself, what can I do today to be better than I am right now? What can I do today to make myself better tomorrow? What can I do to make this shithole better than it is right now? Because right now we're in a big shithole. And you can keep digging down if you want. Me, I want to try and dig some steps. Get the fuck out of this shithole. So, what are you good at? What can you do? How can you help? Those are the questions you've got to ask yourself. Get involved. Don't sit around waiting for me to do it. I'm doing everything I can. You know, I've created a platform for you to come and say g'day, to come and express your ideas, to tell us how you are going to do things to make things better. I've done my bit. Now it's time to get you guys to do yours. So thank you all very much for watching. It is a pleasure as always to present this stuff to you guys. You know, like I said, I just wish I had the economic structure and the time to deliver more to you, because there's so many things that I come across that need to be dealt with. You know, of course, scan in your things and give us a hand there. Actually, don't worry about the Bitcoin one, because I have a feeling I've fucked up and lost that Bitcoin Cash account. Anyway. That's another thing I'll get to one day. But anyway, all that said and done, thank you all very much. Just remember, please, if you can chip in.
Hey, man, I got 5 kids to feed. Take him to the dentist.
And, of course, if you need some video production work done, special effects, you know, titling, you know, digital design stuff, hit me up. And here's a wonderful example of it.